If you're a treasurer for any kind of youth group, you know that Scout accounts are incredibly frustrating to deal with. In our scouting groups, we've designed a spreadsheet that makes it a lot easier, and we've decided to share that spreadsheet with the world. You can download the spreadsheet down below in the description. If you use our spreadsheet, we do ask that you make a donation to the youth of Maryland Troop 1. You can do that through our PayPal account, once again down below in the description. This is a short tutorial showing the various features of our spreadsheet. Each individual scout has a section. So for example, this is the section for, let's say Bob Smith. By the way, all the amounts in this spreadsheet are made up, all the names are made up, so no youth protection or anything like that's being shared. And, we thought about different ways of doing this, like giving each a page. This seemed to be the quickest for me to cut and paste. I just go across the board. If I have multiple, if I get more than, say, 14 kids, I start to break it up by dens. I just create additional spreadsheets down here. So for a pack, we have the multiple dens. For our troop, we only have 2 patrols, so we keep it all on one page. So this spreadsheet has a couple of fancy things. Of course, here's your last name up in the upper left-hand corner. A lot of the words you're seeing are actually formulas. For example, if you have a credit, a positive balance, this word says credit, where over here under Johnson, well, Johnson owes money, so his says overdue. Once again, there's a number over here. This is credit after 14 days. So really, we want them to be paying whatever they need to pay within the next 2 weeks of the current date. So as you see, Mr. Smith here, he's got so much money in his Scout account that he's good after 14 days. He's got a claim while he's sitting around. Mr. Johnson, on the other hand, he owes, 14 days from now, his account will be under 100. But the idea is that this is the number we want them to pay. This is the number that's basically current or overdue, and it's all based on the dates of the invoices and the payments. Down here in the main area, typically we put 2 things in here: invoices and payments. You can put the invoices for the entire year. The numbers up top use the dates to determine the current balances. So, for example, Mr. Smith here has dues all the way out through December. We try to do them all a year at a time. Everything in purple, which is also all negative numbers, are your invoices. So when you want to do a camping trip, you simply come to the end. You would add the cost. Let's see, this camping trip costs $20, and it is due on 6/1. It automatically does the year for you. And this is a bobsledding, might as well make it good, right? Camping trip. Oops, sorry. If it's an invoice, you have to put negative an amount. And as you see, it says due now. After you make every addition, you should come to the top, and you should see a little arrow right beside the date. If you click on that, it'll sort it by the date. Sort oldest to newest. It should be already selected. Say OK. And now you will see that first off, his current credit is 202 because his bobsledding date isn't due yet, but it is within the next 2 weeks, so it's going to take that money out. But his credit after 14 days is $182. Sorry, I didn't actually hit enter up here. Let's try this again. There we go. So now you'll see that bobsledding has been nice and organized right here into his payments. But Mr. Smith, he's a good guy. He likes to pay in advance. In fact, he likes to throw a little extra in or whatever. So he sends some money via PayPal. Now, we do not care that the money he sent, where it goes to. In our personal troop, whatever your oldest invoice is what any money is applied to. Even if you write, say, you write a check and you write bobsledding on your check, in our troop, it doesn't matter. Any payments made go to your oldest invoice. So he's going to send $35 in because he likes messing up our system here. And then it's a current date right now, which is 5/31. And then we just keep what the checks or money is from very simple. So PayPal would be PP. For us, check is CK, cash CASH. We don't try to get really detailed because all this takes a lot of time. If you want the detail, of course, you can go to the source of wherever it came from. Once again, whenever you make an ad, you come up here to right after the date column, click, and say oldest to newest. And it'll put it in. So as you see, so his bobsledding invoice is here on 6/1, PayPal payment that he made is here, $35 for operated date. The only column that you cannot touch is this one that says status. There's a big, nasty psycho formula in this column that I'll explain in a second. But if you go messing with that, it's going to not work in the future. So let's move over, because Mr. Smith has got his stuff together pretty good here. Let's move over to somebody who's a little bit behind. As you see these payments come in or not, once again, we discussed at the top that the current overdue amount or the current what we'd like them to pay amount changes automatically. The numbers over here can either be purple, which means they're an invoice, black, which is it's a payment, or red, which is basically an overdue invoice, past due invoice. Over here into the status column, the double dashes means it's a payment, paid means it's a paid invoice. There's past due, and there's also partial. So let's say they paid $10 of a $30 event, it would say the word partial here. As long as you don't mess with this column or change anything in this column, this is all automatic. You don't have to do anything with it. We dress them in our troops by families. So if there's 2 or 3 kids, they all go in a single column. You'll see an example here where there's 3 separate summer camp payments, simply because they have 3 children. But once again, the incoming PayPal, here's like this gentleman sent $300 in a single shot. We don't separate them out per kids. They all just go in one long column. We tried separate kids, but that just didn't work out for us so well. Here's a location where they've made partial of this payment. So you see the word partial here, but then of course the other one's past due. Effectively, if they're red, they owe some are part of it. But the trick is to get the parents to look up here at this the pay now. Constantly push them to ignore everything except for pay now, unless they're checking for accuracy. If you recruit a new scout, it's real simple to add one. Simply scroll to the far right. Find any given scout, copy the entire 4 columns. You just select, hit right click, say copy, and click 2 columns over and simply do a paste. Go and select all of the amounts and dates and hit the delete key, and then select all of the descriptions and hit the delete key. And one of the things you'll notice is you'll see where it says paid all the way down. In some cases, you will see a blank spot. It just simply means that somewhere along the line, somebody deleted the formula that was there. So you can just simply click on it and do a copy there and simply do a paste. It'll fill in the blanks. You'll notice that they'll say all paid, and you'll say, hey, that's not okay. What you'll find out the second you start filling in some of the information, that'll all fix itself pretty nicely. When you receive our spreadsheet, there will be 2 sheets inside of it. One is all the sample information. It's the same exact spreadsheet you've seen me modifying here. The other one is unit XXX. So these 2, you can access these 2 down at the bottom. The sample is on the right. Unit XXX, you can click once, and that's just a blank spreadsheet that you can use to get started. If you double click on unit XXX, you name it whatever you like. For example, it can be troop 678, for example. So what we do with this, the middle of every month, our dues are for the next month are due on the 30th or the 31st, the last day of the month. About the 20th of every month, I send out an email, and what I do is I send an email to say Mr. Miller here, and usually it's a copy to both parents. What I do is I just highlight their section, and then you can right click and do a copy. So I use Outlook for emails. When you go to send out these Scout accounts, I do it on the middle of each month. Of course, you'll type the name where it's going to and an obvious subject. The tricky part here is the advanced tip is you just go ahead and do a paste. And down here, it'll say paste options. This is Microsoft Outlook. Your program will do it differently, but most of them will have similar stuff. I always paste it as a picture. The reason I do this is it maintains your formatting, but also keeps the adults from modifying it and sending it back to you in some modified format. The other thing I do is I hit enter once or twice, and I come up here and I click signature, and I have a special signature just for these types of emails. It has all of our basic rules for payments here in Troop 1. Uh, it's whenever I sign something financial, I like to have the instructions for my financials at the exact same time. I can do this in approximately 1 minute per person. Currently, this troop has 14 boys, so it takes me about 15-20 minutes to do the whole shebang. And I guess that's it. Please like and subscribe. This is actually the first couple of videos we're going to do on some advanced scouting techniques. So if you like them, please let us know. If you hate them, don't let us know.